we've been launching these rockets of desire, and they've been gathered in this cooperative vortex where all of the cooperative components have already been gathered. You are usually the only uncooperative component to your own desire because you're looking for the facts of it. You're looking for the actuality of it. So you're not often a vibrational match to it. But nevertheless, it is yours. It's gathering on your behalf, and it's ready for you when you're ready. So sometimes you say, I'm afraid I will go to the dock and my ship will have already come in, or I'll get there too soon. I'll leave before it gets there. And we say, there's another and another and another and another and another, because the universe and law of attraction are always orchestrating yet another path of least resistance for you to close that gap between what you've identified that you want and the full realization of it, you see. So when we have conversations like this, it helps you to understand that your singular work is just your readiness to allow that gap to be closed. Your readiness to allow you to be inspired to the thought, word, and action that not only closes the gap that gets you to where you want to be, but gives you a really fun unfolding of life along the way. Really, if you could right now get to everything you think you want in one big rush, first you'd have a nervous breakdown. Because there would be more for you to contemplate and tend to than you have the capability of doing. And next, all the fun would be over like that. You'd be there, done. And then what? And then what, really? We know you think we're trying to talk you out of manifestations. We're not. We're not trying to talk you out of the full realization of everything you want. But we're trying to talk you into fun on the way to them, because it's the fun on the way to them that is the majority of what you are always going to be about. You came into this life to be inspired to something that you have not yet realized, so that you could have the fun of following your guidance into the realization of it. And all of that is fun. Every bit of that is fun if you're not beating the drum of doubt and the drum of lack. It's really fun. Don't you love that fresh feeling of wanting something? Unless you've already wrestled it to the ground and killed it by saying, well, I want it, but I don't have it, and I want it, but I've never had it, and I want it, but I hardly know anybody that has it, and I want it, but I'm tired of wanting it and not having it, and I want it, but I don't think I'm going to get there anytime soon, and I want it, but it's really lonely without it, and I want it, but I can't afford it, and I want it, but I don't have the, but, and as you argue for your limitations, you hold yourself in chronic disallowance of it, and then you come to the wrong conclusion that this feeling that you have that feels uncomfortable is because you don't yet have the manifestation of it. And that's not why you feel disappointed. You feel disappointed. You feel the negative emotion because you are vibrationally out of resonance with it, you see. So what we are saying to you is, if you can find a way to be in more vibrational resonance with what you want, you won't feel bad in the not having of it. And that scares you because you think, that's the trick you're playing on us, Abraham. You want us to find vibrational resonance with it so we don't feel bad about not having it, so that we will live happily in the absence of the things that we want. And we say, that can't be true. You can't live in the absence of the things you want if you're living happily ever after in the absence of the things that you want, because the happy factor means you're in resonance with the allowing of it, so it's on the way. And you got to be feeling good about it being on the way even before it gets there. Did you ever take a trip somewhere? Get out on the highway. It's going to be a driving trip. There you are, 1,000 miles from where you intend to be. This is awful. This is just awful being way over here, away from where I want to be. You say to the airline flight attendant, sucks. I'm still in the airspace over my city. The flight attendant would say, it won't be long. Well, it'll be too long for me. I believe in instant manifestation. I don't want there to be any journey to anything. I just want it boom, want it boom, want it boom. And we say, take all the fun out of life. If you could do that, don't worry, you can't. You cannot close that gap to nothing, because the fun is in the bringing yourself into vibrational resonance with what you want. And in the process, you're going to keep refining it and refining it and refining it and refining it so that we can happily announce to you, you're never going to get it done. And we want that to be a good thing to you, not a bad thing. I'm never going to get it done. Kill me now. I'm tired. And we say, you're only tired because you're in resistance. If you weren't in resistance, you wouldn't be tired. Well, now we've told you everything we know. And we think that you have been listening to us long enough that you're up to speed with what we just said, yes? You create your own reality. You're a vibrational being. You're emitting a signal all the time. Your signal equals your point of attraction. So we tell you about this vortex where the vibrational version of what you want and who you really are resides. But there's not just this vibrational version. There's this me standing in my physical body, real time, real space, reality version of me, right here, right now. See it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it version of me. And I'm standing here, and you can tell me all you want, Abraham, that what I really want and who I really am is over there in some nebulous mist. But I want that to come over here where I am. I don't want it to just be an idea. I want it to be something that I can experience with all that I am physically, and that others could even witness if they were looking in my direction. And we say, so now we're talking about you in your body, your right here, right now, point of attraction. And you want what's in your vortex to come to where you are, and we do too. So we've been calling where you are your grid. It's the unfulfilled, not yet filled in with all of the details version of you, sort of like the framework of a house. It's this grid version of you that will flesh in, that will fill in with all of the details. So here you stand in this point of attraction because you're emanated a signal. So the vortex and all that you've asked for, that source energy part of you, it's vibrating up here in this very high frequency, in this non-resisted, pure, positive energy frequency. But if you're in disappointment, your frequencies are very far apart. So what's in your vortex is not going to flow in where you are. So we want you to understand that your grid can be at any place along that emotional scale that you've heard us talking about. You could have a grid that's in depression. You're on this spinning grid, it's your point of attraction, and you so want those lovely things in your vortex to come and play with you. But they can't match up because your frequency is so different. But you're not matchless, are you? You're not matching with what's in your vortex, but all kinds of things that match your depression are jumping on your spinning wheel with you and having a whirl with you. If you're angry, if you're frustrated or overwhelmed, things like that are jumping on with you all the time, aren't they? And you're saying, where's the stuff that's in my vortex? And we say, at a different frequency. Well, it should come over here with me. It should come to where I am. If what I want would come to me, I would increase my vibration right away. If you'll give me what I want, I promise you I'll feel really good. And we say, you got to find a way of feeling really good, because you got to raise that disc, that vibrational disc, that grid disc, that point of attraction. It's somewhere. And if you want to know where it is, just pay attention to who's jumping on with you. Jerry used to say, Abraham was talking about righting the wrongs of the world. I think that there should be islands of incarceration. So the rapers all go to one island and do it to each other, and the murderers all go to one island and do it to each other, and the thieves go to one island and do it to each other. Seems like perfect justice. And we said, you already have those islands. Very upsetting to the group. How does the murdered get on the same island with the murderer? They have found the same vibrational frequency. Now we know that it feels like the victim and the victimizer are different frequencies. But if you've been fearing the victimizer, you've jumped on the disc where he lives. In other words, there's no exclusion in this universe that's based on attraction. And often, while you want something, what you want is different than the vibration that you're offering. And that's the point that we really want to make clearly as we are beginning here today. Your grid may not and often is not matching what's in your vortex. And that's why you can't be the realizer yet of what's in your vortex of creation, in the vortex where the source within you dwells, in the vortex where the whole of who you are is. Esther's been wondering for a while because she's been hearing us say, you create your own reality. And she knows about this vortex. She knows that all the good stuff is there and that the expanded, most leading edge version of that which she is resides in that vibrational place of non-physical energy. But she's been wondering, and so have you, well then where does the stuff I don't want come from? And we say, anything that you find vibrational resonance with will come and join you in your grid and will flesh out. So we think if we were standing in your physical shoes, that we'd be paying more attention to our point of attraction. In fact, we would let it be the only thing that mattered. We wouldn't be thinking about what's in the vortex because we've already put it there. We wouldn't be worrying about putting more in there. You can't stop putting stuff in there. You can't stop expanding. But we would be giving our undivided attention to, what am I doing right now? What grid am I choosing right now? We offered this analogy a few weeks ago because we had several days together in Cancun. And it erupted from a series of questions. And it is such a good analogy to help you to understand that you are offering these vibrations and that you are establishing, without knowing it, a vibrational platform or grid or point of attraction that is filling in. And that you have control over what fills in, not once the momentum of it begins, but before the momentum of it begins. Because when you give your attention to something for as little as 17 seconds, momentum begins. And now another thought like it is going to join it, and another and another and another. And once you cross that 68-second point, you've got a pretty strong point of attraction going on that makes you feel like you want to create your own reality, but that you can't control it. But the reason that you often believe that you cannot control your own reality is because you're not tending to your vibrational frequencies in the beginning of the day when you're fresh and clear. You often just let life occur to you, and whatever happened sort of establishes the grid you're on. And then being on that grid, the momentum gathers, and then you come to a gathering like this where we say you create your own reality, and you say, well, maybe I do, but it doesn't feel like I'm creating my own reality. It feels like reality is creating me. It doesn't feel like I'm thinking my own thoughts. It feels like the thoughts are thinking me. And we say, that's because you're not jumping in and paying attention until there's momentum already established. You want to get out ahead of the manifestation. You want to get out ahead of the momentum. You want to choose the disc that you get on and practice staying there. When you find yourself flying high and feeling good, milk it longer until you've established more of a pattern. And it is our promise to you. In time, you will be at this grid frequency, at this one, at this high-flying, good-feeling grid frequency often enough that when you dip into a lower one, and you will because stuff happens. You're not blind, you're not deaf, you're not oblivious to what's going on in life. You're watching television, you're talking to your friends, you're aware of what's happening. All kinds of things are going to place you momentarily, temporarily, maybe even for a longer time than you want to, on these lower discs that are going to fill in with more evidence of where you are. That's all just fine. But every chance you get, if you're meditating, if you're making lists of positive aspects, if you're rampaging in appreciation, if you're watching for the things that feel good more and more, you will establish more of a chronic vibrational frequency in that higher frequency so that more of what's in your vortex will begin to fill in, and you will begin to feel two wonderful things. Empowerment, self-empowerment. Because you're in control of your vibration, therefore you're in control of your point of attraction, therefore you're in control of which disc you're on, therefore you're in control of what jumps on with you. Empowerment and a feeling of worthiness. And we so want you to have those experiences, those emotions that go so tightly together, because you tend to not tend to your frequency, and then stuff happens that you don't like, and then you make such a wrong assumption that someone has deemed you inappropriate and now is giving you stuff you don't want as punishment for your inappropriateness. And there's nothing like that going on. It's that you've simply chosen a frequency that won't let on what you do want and does let on what you don't want. That's all. You create your own grid. You create your own frequency. You create your own momentum.